So Freewell have now released their filters for the DJI Air 3S, and actually I've been testing them out. They're pretty darn good. And as with their ND filters for the Air 3, the Air 3S ND filters here are also split. That means that they are going to be accounting for the fact that you have different apertures on both the wide angle and the tele cameras. So for example, this filter here is both ND16, that's for the wide angle camera, but also ND8, and that's for the tele camera, and that pattern repeats for the other three filters. So we have an ND32, ND16 combo, ND64, ND32 combo, and the ND128, ND64 combo. Now, chances are, if you've invested in a drone such as the Air 3S, you know a little bit about photography and videography. But for those that don't, you may be wondering, well, what do these ND filters actually do? And to cut a long story short, it all boils down to having more cinematic footage by introducing coveted motion blur. So that's what you see in the movies. It's actually how your eyes see in real life. It's an important thing that a lot of people want to be able to capture. Now, in order to do so with your camera sensor, you need to reduce the shutter speed quite remarkably. The problem is you do that with, for example, the standard lens that's on your DJI Air 3S, you are going to highly overexpose the image. It's not going to be looking good at all. But that's where these ND filters come into their own. Effectively, I've always considered them to be a pair of sunglasses for your camera sensor. They reduce the amount of incoming light, effectively reducing that overexposure while still allowing you to have that slower shutter speed for that motion blur. So effectively, you are going to want to have double the shutter speed rate over the FPS that you are recording in. So if I'm going to be recording in 4K 30 FPS, I'm going to want to set my shutter speed to 1/60 or a 60th of a second. Now, for most outdoor filming, when it is bright, the sun is shining, there's not many clouds in the sky, then I would typically be using an ND32 filter. If it's a little bit cloudy but still quite bright, I'll tend to drop that down to ND16 or occasionally even ND8. But again, because these are split filters, they are going to account for the difference in aperture between the wide angle lens and the tele camera lens. And both of those can be adjusted independently within the app settings. However, it is important to remember that ND filters are not going to be for everybody, especially in the drone flying hobby. And that's because motion blur is only going to be something that can be captured when you have fast moving shots. So if you do a lot of your flying up high with a lot of your subjects down below quite a distance away from the camera, then you are not going to be getting much movement in those shots in order to even notice any applicable blur. And in those cases, even having an ND filter installed, it won't harm the shot, but it won't really bring anything to the table either. However, if you find yourself flying lower to the ground and that you do have a lot of movement in your shots, then definitely you are going to notice a difference when you install a Freewell filter. So whether these are right for you really is going to be determined by the type of flying that you do. I myself was quite skeptical about ND filters a few years ago, but when I started using them with one of my older DJI mini drones, I did become a bit of a convert, and I've not really looked back since, and I'm often flying with a filter installed rather than without. And even though Freewell have sent this pack to me in exchange for me bringing this review to you, I've used many of Freewell's filters in the past for different drones and have always found them to be exceptional in their performance. So folks, I hope this video has helped and provided some insight into the newly released Freewell split 4-pack of ND filters for the DJI Air 3S. I'm having such a load of fun flying this drone. I know many of you are as well. Are you flying with ND filters, or are you happy to do without? Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next time.